Well, it's 6:30 hour, at least I'm watching it at least. And we want to welcome everybody tonight out, select board meeting, and for October 21st. Hard to believe with the day. I think it's the beginning of September, but I'll take it. So, anyways, with the meeting called to order, review and approve minutes of October 7th, 2021.
I will move to approve the minutes for October 7th, 2021.
And I'll second it. Any discussion?
The only thing that I saw that kind of affects this is just that we had the Phase 2 project on the agenda we had set for today, but we've got it on here as ARPA. I just want to make sure that that was clarified, that that's what we're referring to on the minutes.
We still want the ARPA for
Okay.
I just quickly said ARPA because I thought that's what we called it, but Phase 2 is fine. I mean, it just wasn't on there at all, so.
Yeah, I just want to make sure it was on it's crossed over from the minutes to this week's agenda.
So maybe put ARPA after it for the minutes. And that should be on every meeting.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Under my section on page 2, online in the state of Vermont and find septic plans by typing in the name of the town. So plans should be in there.
No, fine septic plan, yeah. Hey, anything else? Any other discussion? Hearing none? All those in favor of the minutes printed and with corrections, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Okay, adjustment to the agenda. Anything staring at you that you want to change?
I think we should talk about the bids instead of the beds.
You can blame that on my eyes.
Yeah, blame it on the eyes.
And then the agenda for next select board meeting is November 4th, not today, October 21st.
Gotta be the eyes.
3 weeks tomorrow will be better.
Yeah, that's 3 weeks to walk. Okay, all right. Maybe we'll have corrections on that. I looked at this thing, still believe it or not. Okay. Everything good there on the way it is, Zach?
Yep, I think let's just bomb down through.
All right. Whatever, VORC, whatever. Okay. Whatever the grant is, update. With Mike Geis, do you know?
No, but it was really Mike and Gary that were gonna talk about the 2 grants.
All right, you're up.
You were just the one sending the email.
Oh, he was just one, okay. Whatever. So, you guys are up, you wanna?
We're up. I'll start with the brief. So as you know, we come and ask permission to write a letter of intent to apply to see if we could apply for a Versa and Warsac and Ursa grant, 2 state grants. One is for a very big project and the other is for small to medium-sized projects. And to our surprise, we got accepted to apply for both. For one of them, the Ursa, I think we were 59 or 60 out of 140 or something like that.
Good.
So, which is unusual that we got approved, but we have to make a decision. We can't apply for both. But for some reason, they said yes, that we could go either way.
Oh, so you just have to pick one, huh?
Yeah.
Which one can get more money?
Boric.
For the products.
Yeah. Boric has the bigger pool of money and the least,
Yep.
and 37 applications picked on Boric. So there's an Ursa grant that we also got invited to apply for too. And now we're kind of just trying to figure out, or we gotta weigh the balance of, do we pick one over the other? Do we sort of try and merge them? We have to talk with the grant managers.
Yeah, I'm just curious, like, you can only get one or the other, right? Basically.
We can only apply for one, but a lot of the things that it covers are similar.
Yeah.
So we might be able to say, if we wanted to go with the VORC, we might be able to get everything we would have gone from URSA plus more to go with VORC.
Yeah.
Or if we don't think we have enough to take the chance of getting the bigger grant, we might be able to expand what we want for the URSA one and get some planning for a bigger project in the future. We haven't gotten the link to apply for the grant yet, so we're kind of waiting for that. We've gotten a lot of paper about what you need to prepare for it, but that's about it. So we're really here to, I guess, update you, and to make sure you want us to continue moving forward.
Well, we got this far.
Yeah, I think it's really great that we were accepted to both. I really think we should move forward. I think it's money that is going towards projects that are going to, help the town of Groton. So I don't see why we wouldn't want to move forward with it.
Are you comfortable with leaving that decision with the group of which one we decide gives us the best chances?
You have better knowledge of what you're looking at than we do, so.
Would you be interested in putting a motion so we have in the minutes to give us permission to move forward?
You want to make that motion, Zach?
Yeah.
So moved.
A little more info, the grant application isn't due until the end of November, the 28th or 29th,
Yeah.
around there.
Okay.
So maybe, before we submit anything, we could run it by the board too.
Yeah, I think it would be good to see. I think you should definitely move forward.
These are not matching grants.
Yeah.
So there's no commitment from the town.
Yeah. So I think, coming back, I think with what you guys are proposing for, the grant that you want to move forward with would be good. I think it'd be nice to know what we're doing so we can speak to it. But,
Yeah, I get it.
But I think it's great.
Great, thank you. So I don't know, Mike has more you want to add, share?
Not really. We're just working on it now, kind of going through. We pretty much covered what's going on there. Just seems like it's going to be a little bit of work here, so wanted to get the green light before we sort of went on with it.
All right, well, we'll bring up the vote, so any other more discussions with that? Any questions? All right, none, so all those in favor of the motion to allow what's the group?
It's a blended, are you guys a recreation committee?
Well,
And then-
we're not really a recreation committee.
Well, the planning commission would be one, but I'm doing it independently of the planning commission, kind of. We're bringing them in now. I don't know.
It's really upgrades to the railroad bed
Okay.
and connecting it to the town.
Yeah, so move forward with
Improving
everything
connections.
should be like move forward with the grant application for improvements to railroad bed.
Okay,
Yeah.
that sounds good.
Yeah, something like that.
With that motion made, so all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. The only thing I'd just say, just for clarification for future minutes, just kind of find out what group that this is taking a hold of, is leading this out, so we can have it in the minutes, so
Okay.
somebody's gonna come back on slide, well, you guys don't know what you're doing, so.
I put a name for the project on the application. So you could call it that if you want, the Groton Gateway.
Okay,
That's on the VORC application.
Well,
call it that.
you know,
The Groton Gateway Group.
The Groton Gateway Project, how about
there you
that?
go. Yeah, so, just so we get some, a little bit more clarification and,
Okay.
so. All right, anything else?
Can I give a brief update on the planning commission? Because last time I was here, I think I told you we were interested in a grant to improve the bylaws. We brought NVDA in, and they looked at what we wanted to do to improve it and said we didn't need a grant and that they could most likely guide us through making the changes we need to make. They are doing a technical review of our zoning bylaws right now. That's just like a free of charge service that they'll do for us. So they'll flag other issues. So we've already flagged some issues that we see in there and worked with Dan on, collaboratively to come up with areas we can improve our zoning bylaws. And brought NVDA in. We're not gonna be going for any grants. Doesn't sound like, and it sounds like we'll be able to implement changes or amendments to the bylaw by way of the process of just the planning commission does things. So that was good news. And then the other thing was we've been looking at the other documents that sort of govern the planning commission, and we noticed that we get letters every year saying we're on the planning board for the year. But there's a document called the Rules of Procedure that lists the term as a 3-year term. So we were just curious if maybe we were sending too many letters out, or if we really can rope people in for 3 years.
It is a 3-year term, Mike.
Is it?
Yes.
I had no idea, because I was just getting a letter every year, so I just assumed it was a 1-year term until we saw this 2 nights
No,
ago.
It's a 3-year term.
Okay.
Just trying to get people to join was the biggest challenge.
Trying to
Maybe
make sure
keep-
people stay on.
We were curious, we didn't really come to an answer, and we're like, well, I'll ask, well, I would bring that update on them.
Probably have to adjust it in your town report.
What's that?
Does it say it 1 year in there?
Yeah.
It does.
Short 3 years.
Okay, just-
Okay, thanks.
All right. Anything else, Mike?
That was it. Yeah.
All right, well, thank you, gentlemen. All right. Now we then move into department updates. ARPA.
So I think from the ARPA standpoint, I mean, the main project that we're working on, that's why I wanted to make sure it was in there correctly, is the drainage and parking project. So I might be a little long-winded here, but I've got notes. I spent a little bit of time and thought about a few things. Where do I want to start? So I think, we don't need to review the plan, but I think the plans have been available out, so if people want copies, there's copies here at town building. I talked with,
Website.
on the website too. I talked with Carrie and Lisa and said that I'd be happy to help, kind of, from a select board standpoint, kind of take the lead on trying to help with this project, to make sure that we incorporate everything that we want to incorporate it the right way, and make sure that we get this project, through all of the paces as it needs to be done. So separate from funding, there's a couple of things from our meeting last week that we wanted to touch base on. I don't know if we got anything, but the first one was moving the blocks, dig test holes, and then finding out the road width for Mill Street. Were the kind of 3 things. But I'll get to those in a minute once I get through my notes here. There were some concerns brought up to me, at least, about ensuring that the plans include, or that the plans currently do not include any future planning around the additional kitchen that's been proposed by the community club. And one of my questions is, one, we've looked at these. I think we talked with Nate last meeting, but one of the questions I've got is, looking at the kitchen plan, is it, with the current plan that we've got, is there still feasibility to be able to put the kitchen in back there? And I think the answer is probably yes, depending on the adjustments to the actual plan and if that's incorporated. My other question is, can we incorporate do we want to incorporate the appropriate space in the plan to allow for that future proposal? But I wanted to kind of get some feedback, I guess, because I know that, Peter came a few meetings ago to talk about the kitchen plan and
How much of a benefit over the existing kitchen would that be used for? Once a year for chicken pie dinners?
so it's like the kitchen down here, it's not just for community club, for chicken pie supper, you know, it's part of the community.
But how often is this kitchen used in a year?
A few times, right? 3, 4,
So why
5
would we
maybe.
build a new kitchen to use 2 times a year if we have this kitchen to use 2 times a year?
I mean, it's a good question. I think, you know, one, I'll say from a chicken pie supper standpoint, I mean, I don't know how many folks have been to chicken pie supper, but it's not, you know, some of the things that are done for chicken pie supper with the current kitchen are probably in violation of several health codes and several, you know, several safety codes, and I mean, sometimes it's not
Certainly,
safe.
but some of the pies they make and some of the chicken dinners they bring in may not be up to code where they're being cooked. So, I mean,
Without a doubt, but I think the big thing is, the potential is there, I think, for that to have benefits for the community. So it puts it in a place that may allow it to be used more than just 3 times a year, right? It's down here too, people could use it if they wanted to, if they reserved the hall for a party. So, I mean,
I believe some other thoughts, I mean, this kitchen is something that, you know, when Peter and I were on the select board, was talked about. And the other ideas was also to have a conference room in that space and also storage for those tables and chairs that we all hate to put up on that stage, and we destroy them just by doing that all the time. That would also be another benefit. And I think the hope is if this type of setup was up on the first floor, maybe get used more, maybe senior meals would not be in the basement of the Methodist Church anymore, or other programs like
I
that.
think it should be up to the townspeople to vote on something like that, if it came to
absolutely.
that, because it seems like it would be a tremendous burden.
yeah, without a doubt, Danny, I think the big thing is the looking at the current plan that Nate Segar put together for the improvements to the drainage and parking that we reviewed at the last meeting, that didn't incorporate any future planning of the potential kitchen site. So I think you're correct, it should be voted on, you know, by the people of Groton to determine that that's what we want to do or not want to do. Without a doubt, I think there are a lot of benefits, and I'm sure there's a lot of concerns about it as well. So that was just, you know, I wanted to have, that's why I want to have kind of this discussion is, you know, do we adjust the plan to incorporate that, you know, space for you know, potential planning for that in the future.
I think if we want to incorporate, again, we are planning, I think at some point, we're going to have an informational meeting, so we can incorporate that so we can get the public feeling of what they think, what they want, so. Then you can figure out, you know, are they for it or against it, so, that incorporation, you can throw that in, when we do the information meeting, so.
I think, I don't think I think the thing for me is waiting until then to have people say, okay, we want to make this adjustment, and then we decide to make this adjustment. That moves our timeline out further, and as Nate described, one of the things that I'd like us to consider is that we actually, you know, start talking about that stuff now as we're looking at it, and if there's adjustments that need to be made, make the adjustments to the plans so that we can, you know, get it out to bid, you know, hopefully get it out to bid in December and get through the bid process by town meeting day so that we can then, you know, in the spring, you know, hopefully.
Shouldn't we wait until we see what the drainage issues are completely before you make up a decision as to whether there's going to be enough space?
So I think we've got a pretty good determination, Danny, from what Nate did for from the plans. So we know what needs to happen with the drainage, you know, without a doubt. No matter what, before we put a kitchen in there, before we do parking, we got to fix the drainage. That has to be, that's the primary focus of this project is fixing the drainage. So that's where it's, you know, we gotta think about this. You know, does it when I look at the plan and think about what, what space the kitchen, footprint may take up, and of course, we're not looking recently at the plans for the kitchen, but, we're talking about moving what's there for paved parking on the plan, 4, 5, 6 feet from where it is further out. So, is it, what if the town, if we move that 6 feet and the town decides not to do a kitchen, what does it matter? Right? Then we just have an extra piece of grass we gotta mow. You know what I mean? So does it, should we allow that to hold this project up? I don't think so. But I think being able to say, we've been thoughtful about that, we've looked at that plan and we've made that adjustment makes the most sense. Because if, again, we take this to the town, and town votes on it and they vote, no, we don't want to do the kitchen, again, that's
It's also the thought of who's paying for the kitchen.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think there's a lot of pieces to that.
That's part of what Lisa says is part of my question is, the community club wants to bring a kitchen to the town of Groton, which can be a good thing. It can benefit the taxpayers and the people, whoever wants to use it. There's a cost that maybe we're not even have considered yet, and that is, how much money is it really going to cost the town of Groton? Maybe the community club wants to fund the whole project. And everybody talks to grants. I know the town of Groton would be more than willing to accept that kitchen from the community club if they want to fund the whole project, complete. I mean, I think there's a lot of things that might happen by putting a kitchen in. I hope they've been thought of. The life safety code alone, probably, putting a kitchen in is going to bring this whole building to standards that may, that's going to be, it may be in the town plan, it may have to be sprinkled, which may make this whole building be sprinkled. That's a real major cost to somebody, and if having this kitchen comes to, and it's a brainchild of the community club members, that price would have to be bared on their backs, not on the taxpayers. That's my opinion. We beat the system a little bit by not having to sprinkle so far, which.
How
My
long will that
concern
last?
is you put the kitchen in, it's for the benefit of the community club. Community club didn't want to pay for the gas for this stove. Are we going to pay for the gas for the stove in the new kitchen, or is the community club going to fund it?
Yeah, Danny and Philip, what I'd say is those are all really good questions. But I think when I'm looking at what we're proposing for a project now, all of those need to be figured out, without a doubt. But I think, does it hurt us to adjust this plan to incorporate the footprint to start?
Not if it gets the project going faster. That wall has to get moved. We've got to get the drainage in before we have that catastrophic failure that the state geologist was talking to me about 3.5 years ago.
Yeah.
I think what Zach's trying to say is that we can move forward with this whole drainage parking lot thing. And the kitchen will come later, but he's saying just put in that little bit of space.
Yeah.
If 10 years from now, we're gonna put in a kitchen, at least the space is there. We're not doing anything, we're not putting cement down, we're not doing anything, it's just
Yeah, the way the
bump it
plan's
out,
laid.
just bump that parking lot out a few more feet.
And it won't delay what you're doing now for the drainage.
Right.
Correct, and that's what I'm saying. I think, let's not hold up the drainage plan because of the kitchen plan. They're two separate projects, right?
Yeah.
But there's nothing wrong with us thinking through now to say, let's adjust the plan for the parking and drainage to incorporate the kitchen in. That's kind of my thought.
My opinion, it's just an opinion, and this town has put the cart before the horse way too many times, so it's worth looking at whether this moving too fast is the cart before the horse. So that's just that's a good saying from the old state of Vermont.
For which portion do you feel is going ahead of the other?
If we're really not looking at what this kitchen is gonna change things or what it's gonna cost. A lot of people don't care if it's there or not, but when it comes down to dollars and cents, that's all they care about.
Yep.
So when you come and hit the taxpayers again for something, oh, we didn't know that was gonna happen, well,
Without a doubt. But I think, again, I think the kitchen itself, being a completely separate project from the parking and drainage that we're putting together, I really feel like there's nothing that will hurt either of those projects with us. Well, really, there's nothing with hurting the parking and drainage project with Adjusted to make sure that we think about that future plan for a kitchen, right? So if we decide in 2 years, we decide next year we don't want to do a kitchen, or we decide that we do want to do a kitchen, we've got it worked out, as opposed to, hey, we want to do a kitchen now, and well, now we're talking about a kitchen plus another $50,000 to adjust the parking that we put out there, because we got to tear that back up to make space for that, you know what I mean?
and the question probably goes to planning and Gary might know this. Is it in the town plan at all to add a kitchen on to this building outside?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head either.
I haven't read it, so.
And it might even be that, let's say the kitchen idea doesn't happen, but we decide to do the storage room for the tables or the conference room. Maybe that doesn't involve as many requirements, and now at least maybe we've kind of kept the space for that down the road. Not saying anytime soon that any of this, but once we put the parking lot right tight to the back of the bathrooms, and that's just another.
The drainage.
And the drainage, that's just another thing in the way of anything
Well,
expanding.
it's dead space there anyways, because of the bathrooms go out,
Right,
jet
right.
out.
Yeah, and I mean, what we're talking about, when I looked at the plan, we're talking about a parking lot that has, like, I think it's like a 10 degree kind of angle off that corner there, straightening it up, moving it.
They're not gonna go around over the bathroom to buy.
No. Yeah, so that's kind of where it's, that space there is already dead space, so why not, at least adjust the plan so it incorporates that, as a future potential. That's where we gotta start, I think. So. I don't think we need a motion for that, but if you want, I can make a motion for that.
I think if we're gonna do it with to have it worded in such a way that because some people read into it that if we don't at some point make for considerations for it, they're gonna think it's already a locked done deal. So so we have to make sure that the wording is such that the plan is there for consideration upon the results of how the drainage project pans out.
And,
Go ahead.
and so maybe you don't want to put the word kitchen in there at all. Maybe just
Expansion.
anticipated future expansion on the back side of the building, or something like that. So the word kitchen isn't in there, because I think Carrie's idea is good, that maybe we'll do a conference room and a storage room, or whatever.
Because like I said, townspeople may not want a kitchen, and if we have it worded in there as kitchen, then we gotta go back to and have another meeting all over again and try to.
All right.
So anyways.
All right, I'm gonna give it my best shot here, all right? I wrote it down, so I can show it to you later too. So, I will move to adjust the drainage plan to incorporate space for the future addition, or for the planned future addition to the community club to be considered by the town of Groton.
Community building.
Community building, I don't know why I said that, I have it written down as building. To be considered by the town at a future date.
I'll second it, because we can get it for any.
The word planned means something. That means you got a plan.
I agree. I think any plan that we put forward, just like this plan, it needs to be comprehensive. It needs to make sure that we've got every bit of everything that needs to be considered pulled into that plan, including the finances for it to be discussed, because it's important, right? It's important that we touch every detail of that plan appropriately.
Yeah, these, because this, one thing about these, as I've been, looking at it is, these plans can change over, you could have, these things are not set in concrete, so, that's why I like wanted the wording such as it was, so we, townspeople got the final say.
So when somebody comes and says, you're planning to put a kitchen in there, you have to address that. So you can say no?
Yeah,
So
well, I think the thing is we're incorporating space for the potential addition to the building, which could, okay, the word being could being optimal there, could include a kitchen, right? Not saying that we're going to include a kitchen, but that's part of what the plan may be in the future.
Did the motion get seconded?
Yes, he seconded.
He did? Okay, I didn't hear it.
Yep. You did, right, Wayne?
Yep.
Yep.
Any other questions for that? No. I don't want to hold anybody else if they've got questions, comments. Okay. Well, we'll bring it to a vote, just for sake of bringing it to a vote. All those who consider the motion for consideration, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Okay.
The other part of that, kind of next phase, next piece of that is, one of the things that we've got to get done is the test holes to be able to make sure the drainage is correct. So one of the things that David mentioned at the last meeting was having the road commissioner, or having the town road crew move some of the blocks out from behind the building so that they can put the proper test holes in there. So wanted to see, I don't know, Harold, have you looked to see if you'd be able to move those blocks?
Yeah, I just haven't had time. I've been trying to stay out of Robert's way with the septic.
Yep.
I kind of figured he was gonna be digging across the yard, didn't want to be in his way. And we've been doing other stuff, so.
Oh, yeah. I just wanted to know, last meeting, it was kind of a question as to whether we could actually move it with our equipment or not. But, so I think we just, we just need to coordinate that, I guess, with Nate, right? To move the blocks.
I talked to him, he was here, Tuesday. I was visiting him, so.
Gotcha. All right, so that's kind of in process, right? Okay. Did we figure out the road width for Mill Street yet?
Have you?
I don't know. Where would we find that information at? I don't.
Records.
Would it be the land records?
Should be the land records.
Okay. Gotcha. The other thing that we needed to work out was for the first part of the project, which is, well, the phase one, which is the Mill Street down to the river portion, is the easement. So who owns that property? We know who owns that property down there?
People, I got the
Address.
of home, they're out of Connecticut.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm just thinking we need to probably, one of the things I want to do is talk with, these town lawyer. Gavin, yeah, talk with Gavin about drafting up an easement for it and starting there so that we can get that moving, because that's the other thing that'll hold it.
I'll send it to him.
Oh, okay. Gotcha, that'd be great, Wade, because then we can get that going. So this, I wanted to pass along, I wanted to get, Wade, I wanted to get your feedback and everybody else's feedback on the timeline for approving this project, putting it out for bids, and funding timelines. So obviously the biggest part of the funding will be ARPA funds, so that's all funds that have come from the federal government for infrastructure improvements as part of COVID. That accounts for, in Nate's budget assessment, it accounts for probably 3/4 of the cost roughly, which means that we're going to have to come up with the additional funds. The so this is the timeline that I'm thinking about when it comes to funding is, we had talked about having a special meeting, informational meeting. What I'd like to propose is that December 2nd, which is the first select board meeting in December, that we start that meeting early and we make that the purpose of that meeting. That gives us a month at this point, a little bit over a month to get, more information from folks in town. Potentially I'd be happy to do some separate informational meetings about the plan itself to talk through concerns about the plan. So that when we come to the December 2nd meeting, the select board can make the decision to move forward with putting the project out to bids so we can get the projects bidded. That would be, I would suggest, because of the size of this project and based on Nate's recommendations, that would be 90 days that we would put that out open for bid, which would bring it to February 3rd would be the select board meeting that we would review the bids. That then gives us the opportunity to, and obviously we need to have an article before then, but we should be considering an article on the town meeting day on where we would source the additional funds required. Based off of the initial budget, looks like it's gonna be about $100,000 estimated, so we're gonna need to consider that on town meeting day. There's a couple different, we need to consider it, but there's a couple things that we need to look into, which are grant funds potentially to make up the difference there, but also, do we look at using funds from the funds balance, or and potentially from the CD, the $200,000 CD that we've got to make up the difference on that to cover the project cost to finalize the project. So we would basically have all funding sources and everything would be set in place by the votes on town meeting day, is what I'm thinking. Does that sound like it makes sense?
In theory.
So there's concerns over the plans. Not all the drainage plans themselves, because we don't know what those are, I haven't looked deep into them.
Okay.
But the entrance to the parking lot off of 302,
Okay.
those bales are miserable. I don't think Nate knew the history on that when he proposed his plan, so it can possibly be a problem.
So
The town has
I
had
guess,
town meetings over this.
yeah,
And
my
such.
question is what's the concern? So, and I say that because I don't know either. I think Nate, being an engineer, looked at because that's his business, right? Is he looked at all of the codes to make sure that everything was code compliant, because it's his name on that plan, you know what I mean? So I'm trying to, I guess I'd like to understand what the concerns are.
One of the major concerns is the fire department took a lot of time and energy to make sure that entrance didn't have curving anywhere and such that it just doesn't block water. The water's a big issue. And nothing down there to impede traffic coming and going, so that when fire trucks come out of here, they don't have to cross the center line to go either. You've got to cross it to go down, to go south or east. But to not get into traffic coming the other way, that's why that entrance is as wide as it is. And to skinny it up becomes an issue with the fire department.
So I guess my question is so one, Nate looked at that. I mean, Nate has a program where he ran, an engine down through. I mean, it's on the plan. So I get that. I guess my question is, at 34 feet, which is what is proposed to constrict that entryway down to, that's actually 4 feet. From what he said last meeting, it's 4 feet beyond what the state regulations are for that entryway. So the entryway at this point is basically what it comes down to. It's not really compliant with state DOT regulations as it is. So I mean, the other question I've got is if we're concerned about turning radius on vehicles, and which is what it sounds like. My kind of question is what training are we giving people on the fire trucks for the town? First, and second is If we can't get out of a 34-foot wide entryway here at the town building, what says we can't turn a fire truck around up, Goodfellow Road if there's fire up there at a roadway that's not 34 feet wide? So that's kind of where I start to think a little bit differently about it.
And a lot of it, there's other entrances to fire stations, and I deleted the video. There are other entrances that have it, so we don't have a 100-foot stick ladder truck that we have to get out of here. Hope we never have one, but you never know. But we did this to make it legal for us to have come out of there and open that entrance up wider than it used to be. So it wasn't impeding any traffic coming and going. You can get in and out. And making the sidewalk, we didn't, at that point, we were gonna have stamped sidewalk in there instead of putting brick to make it look like a sidewalk. We just didn't get that done. That hasn't been done. This can be,
The simulation that Nate did was for a 40-foot truck. That's what he had told me, was that should be able to have a 40-foot truck go out there and turn. And what was coded back then is not the code now. And the state's new Act 250 program, which is coming out, may even limit it more if you don't get it done.
so I look at that as a joke. Now they can say that Nate's name and his stamp's gotta go on there, and that's a joke. Because the state of Vermont can do what they want, but they're gonna force us to do something different. You're forcing this, again, this entrance, skinny it up, you're forcing the fire department in the town to make a skinnier entrance in and out of here, and it becomes a safety issue. They can say a 40-foot truck swings out there, when you cross the center line, you're gonna meet your family crossing that center line. So I gotta come out there and stop, yeah, whoop-de-doo. But I don't wanna cross the center line going up. I'm gonna cross it going down. But we went through this, we had the marks on the ground, it was done. We didn't just fake this out of our minds. We sat down and did this, marked it out, and proved that our trucks don't roll out there and not cross that center line. That's why it stayed as wide as it did. And to have those, so to look at the plans and they roll both sides of that in, you just absolutely kicked all your firemen right in the shins. That's what you did. That's what's happening.
What I would suggest is, one, he's doing it to code. So Nate is not going to do anything that is not to code. I'll start there. It's his responsibility to make sure under his license as a licensed engineer that he lays this out to the state code. And even then, he is, I think he's bending the rule a little bit, about 34 feet from what he was saying. So as much as I get that, I think we need to think about what are the other mitigations that we can put in place to I think, alleviate the safety concern that you're talking about. Now, my suggestion, I think I brought this up when we were looking over the plan the other day, when I was looking it over with Lisa and Carrie. I personally think that we need to look at putting, even if it stays the way it is currently now, we should look at putting up flashing red lights that go out that when you guys have a call, those lights turn on and that stops traffic in its spot so that you guys have the ability to maneuver wherever you need to maneuver. And I think that is something we need to consider. But what I'll say is again, I think we have to follow the code, the state code. That's not a joke.
Yep.
We have to follow the state code there.
So if you look at downtown Groton, look at Tim Spooner's property, goes over through and another property starts, goes down through. That's a little bit wider than this whole system out here. And there's a parking lot, and this is what it is. They gotta come out and go. State's allowing that. The state put drainage in right across 302 into the parking lot of it. So there is provision somewhere to allow stuff to happen. If the state can do it, so can we. I mean, that's really my opinion.
Well, I think it's like anything. It's like any building project you run into. When you build, and I think Dan can attest to this, any new building project you put, Tim Spooner's driveway, you could look at it, there's a number of different places where it's wide open like that. The problem is because they're not improving their parking and drainage, they don't have to meet code because that's there, right? But when they improve their drainage and stuff, they have to meet that. That's the way the code works. So is my house up to code? Hell no, I know my house isn't up to code. But when I do any work on my house, or I add anything to my house, I gotta make sure it's done up to code, right? So that's where I think it's not necessarily based off of what the code was 10 years ago, 5 years ago, it's what the code is today. That's what we have to go off.
If Taylor's was torn down today, he couldn't have that same issue.
Nope, you couldn't, you'd have to have it constricted down.
The state they put drainage across the road, put a DI over there, run drainage down. They can do it. Because they're the state.
Can I say one thing? The difference between this plan and the sidewalk one that Philip's talking to is the sidewalk was all the way down to 302, and that's where your curbing was, so you had to come out straighter and then try to make that turn. If you look at the plans, the narrowness is up further, so you're gonna get through that 34-foot width, and then have the rest of 302 to let's just say, cut the corner.
And it's out of the right of way, it's out of the road right of way.
Yes.
So I didn't dig deep in the plans. What's making the radius
What's
coming in here?
So the proposal is that's a wall, okay? So the biggest part of that is that we would build up where the parking is out here, the grade, it does not meet ADA
It's
requirements.
not ADA compliant.
So the handicap parking out there, so we have to raise it to level. So what in this plan, the current plan is to utilize, you know, the blocks from the memory wall that are out here, and they would go into that wall. That's what, it would be a retaining wall to build up the parking is the primary purpose for that.
So this could come out at this hearing, but now you're gonna know this now. So a retaining wall is not considered curbing. We're gonna say that? Because the town of Groton voted at a town meeting to not put any curbing in. That was it. So now you're gonna say a wall is not curbing, we're good luck plowing this. You're really tying your hands more than the fire department. This is almost going crazy. It's coming back to blocking off roadways. It's just not,
Well,
it's inconvenient, terrible.
just because the town voted on it once doesn't mean that it stays there forever. So I'll start by saying that.
Yep.
So if, you know, we voted 5 years ago, I guess, right, to not put curbing in there, but we're putting together a paving, drainage, and parking improvement project that incorporates, you know, a retaining wall. Whether it's, you consider it curbing or retaining wall, it's still a separate project, and it's a separate time, and it can be voted on again by the town of Groton if that's what needs to be done.
The ADA compliance cannot be voted on. That
No,
is
it has to be
given.
met.
It has to be done.
So the thing is, in order to do that, we have to do something to fix that ADA. and make
So
that
the ADA
compliant.
compliance changed, that changes quickly, that changes often.
It changes whenever they want to change it.
So this building didn't comply, or this building complied to ADA compliance when the
That's what
handicap
this-
bathroom was put into the office?
What do you mean? Was,
So handicap spots, that's what we're talking, ADA compliant, right? It's handicap parking.
Yes.
Complied when we put the bathroom in between the offices.
probably not. I would suggest it probably was not.
Code then for the grade.
But it's the code is for the grade of the grade of the driveway.
Yep, certainly. So it must have met the standards at that point. Why wouldn't it meet the standards now?
Because the standards have been updated.
You can't have more than a 2% grade.
Because if
Used to
the
be
ADA can update their standards whenever they want to update their standards based off of the current convention. So, you know, we could put it in at a grade of 1% grade, and next year they could change it to 0% grade, and we would probably have to figure out how to make it compliant. I'm pretty sure we're safe to say if we make it 0%, it will be compliant.
So how many ADA compliant spots, parking spots do we need for this project?
I don't know what the ADA requirement is for the building, but this incorporates, I think, 2 in the front and
One in the front,
back.
one in the back.
Oh, 1 in the front, 1 in the back. And not even then, I mean, it's all about lines and signage, but
So
I
I
would
could-
recommend that we should.
I can make it really simple, a flat spot to park, all you need is one. You look at plowing this, it's gonna be tough. So one spot could be as simple as, it's gotta be right in front of the door, right in front of the ramp. From the ramp side up, you can make that flat here in and out.
Well, and, so, that's the ADA part of it. the other part of it is, as everybody knows, and we talked about it at the last select board meeting about chicken pie supper and parking for town meeting day even. It's a nightmare out here, and I don't know how many people in the fire department, I don't know, would say that it's a concern with trying to get the fire trucks out of here when we have a big event and they're parking. So this plan also eliminates, it straightens out the parking, I think, in a way that makes the most sense out front. But it also eliminates the majority of the parking issues that we have had for years out here at this building. And you know, that's the other part of it for me is I'm looking at it and going, now we don't have, you know, what is it right out in front here? It's like 22 parking spots on both sides of the entryway, and at Chicken Pie Supper, we had cars parked in the middle of the, you know, it was a problem. And, you know, I don't know who else has come to town meeting day, but it's the same problem then. You know, that's where I'm looking at this and going, this makes a lot of sense that we are going to adjust parking to make improve the parking in a way that's going to, you know, limit issues for the fire department. It's going to, you know, have the ADA compliance perspective of it as well. And, you know, it incorporates the drainage that we need to do for the building. So it makes a lot of sense to me.
But anything I can say with all this discussion, it's all valuable discussion. The problem ends up being is that we all hear it right now, but you know, the rest of the town doesn't hear it unless they watch the video. And that's what the biggest problem is. You got to get people got to get the information, and then when it comes time for the meeting, then make the decision, because we can beat this like a dead horse and not get anywhere. Because it's going to end up coming down to the townspeople to vote on it. So it's how much they're going to be informed with the information they got to make that decision.
But the ADA compliance.
Yeah, I understand that some of the federal rules you can't
The
change.
ADA compliance isn't for one parking spot. That 2% rate has to extend.
Yeah.
So the person pushing the person in the wheelchair
Oh yeah,
can push them.
it's an area coverage. I
Right.
understand that.
And I think the other thing with this plan is, you know, currently, I think we all want to have input and feedback from the town, but ultimately at this point, the select board can make the decision on moving forward with this project. So we want to hear from everybody for sure. We want to make sure we get this project together, but we don't, you know, that's where I think we need to have everybody's input so that we can make an informed decision as a select board on how to proceed with this project.
I feel it's pretty sad that all the work that the firemen did with that entrance, we saw nothing from this. Without, you know, I brought that, you know, I emailed the select board anything about the drainage, and that's the first I saw about it, so I banged emails to my firemen. Have you seen any of this? Haven't seen it. It's pretty sad that something that we deal with every day, or however many times we go in and out of there, that nothing was seen to us. You know, you can say we should come to these meetings.
Well, and, you know, Phil, honestly, we had the first real look at this plan detailed last select board meeting. You know, I'd be happy to come to a fire meeting and walk through the plan with everybody and get everybody's, you know, input. You know, I think it's important to get everybody's input, but, you know, it's like a lot of things, you know, people have to be involved. You know, if there's an issue, you know, with the plan or concern with the plan, let's talk about it.
Like, there's some people that are involved. That's got to make 200 calls so far coming out of this entrance this year. I think I could be off a little bit. That's close. That's being involved with that entrance. That's a pretty serious thing to do. But I agree. Yep, you know, we've talked about having a meeting and talking about this, looking over the plans and see how it's going to affect the fire departments moving in and out of here. So it's a good thing. I know we have a meeting. It's good to have anybody.
Yeah.
Our meetings are open.
Yeah, no matter what, I'd say, you know, we ultimately, when we do a project like this, it's got to meet code. And so, you know, I get it, but, you know, drainage has to happen. I mean, we all know we have to invest in the infrastructure for the drainage of this parking lot. or for the building, because, you know, we don't want to lose this resource to the town, right? And that's long-term sustainability of this building, which means we're gonna have to tear up the parking out here, which means we're gonna have to repave it all, which means we're gonna have to make it all to code. And you look at it all and you go, we have to do this stuff. No matter what, we have to do this. We can't not do this, but
We're not Berry City, and we're not Essex.
I'm not suggesting that we are, but
You look at those main drags in Essex, you look at the main drags in Berry City, and it's, a normal person going down through there says it's great. And take a highway person and says, who is an idiot who designed that stuff? That's just how we are. We've done it forever, we just know that. Why would you design that? It's crazy. Comes out there, and my Essex thing is, the Essex Fire Department entrance is bigger than the town of Groton. It comes out on Route 15 or Route 2, whichever it is, comes out of their fire station, it's huge. So, there are, as long as you don't touch it, I guess you're good. That's too bad. You know, it's unfortunate. If we stay out of the right of way, we don't have to comply to the state's rules.
that's actually, no, we have to meet code no matter what. State determines code, and we have to meet code whether it's in the right of way or out of the right of way. So you're saying it's crazy, but it's the code. We gotta go by the building code, and that's what it is. And
one of the things is code doesn't say it has to be a wall, could be anything, could be markings. The paint moves traffic.
But paint doesn't hold up or doesn't retain dirt for parking. So we're back to the 88 part, Philip. Now we can go around and I can go around and around like this for hours.
I don't want to go around for hours.
You know, and I'll tell you, looking at this plan, we got to move forward with this. You know, I think for us, for the long-term sustainability of this property for the town of Groton, it makes the most sense. You know, I think that's where, you know, I'll talk to anybody about it. And I'll walk anybody through the plan. I'll go out back and walk people around the backyard if we need to.
All it would take would be one person to come in here, get injured because this place is non-compliant to an ADA code, and there'd be a multi-million-dollar suit against this town in a heartbeat, because lawyers love to sue municipalities. And I don't want to have to be able to run that expense. So I think it's good. Let's move forward, and then we'll deal with whatever we have to deal with.
Let's get the cart before the horse again, if we can do it.
I mean, I think it comes down to, we need to get the plan approved. We need to have the plan move forward no matter what. So that's kind of where we're at.
Sad.
So I want to have these conversations now before we start breaking dirt, because we start breaking dirt and somebody wants to have a special town meeting, vote down a project that's already halfway through, we're in trouble. You see what I'm saying? So it's,
Well, either way, we've got to do the ADA compliance.
absolutely,
No matter what.
no matter what,
So
that has to happen.
Whether they can drive a fire truck down or not, it has to be ADA compliant.
Correct. And the drainage has to get done. And that's, those are the two main pieces of it. Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, I'm not on the fire department. I understand that.
On application?
No, I'm good. Sorry. But I know that, you know, I understand and appreciate.
I'm not sure you do.
Well,
But
you might know, I might more than you may ever know, fella, to be honest. I might know more than you may ever know, how much I understand that. But I definitely understand and appreciate that we need to take care of making sure the fire department has the proper access in and out of the fire department, especially for calls. I get that. And I don't think this plan is going to impede that at all. And if it does, then I would go back to one of my original statements, which is maybe we need to get more truck training for the fire department. So, anyway. I don't think I've got anything else for that.
All I can say on this, just to kind of conclude this portion of it, is that Again, we gotta, if, this is a time when people, wanna be aware of what's taking place, you need to get out and, talk to us as select board. And, like I say, Zach's willing to, go through the process, and then people can make up their own mind. And I understand what you're gonna say, Dan, about the ADA. I understand that 110%, so, we've got to do that anyways. But, on the other hand, we still gotta get that information out so everybody can, be able to, have that information and kind of think about it before, like I say, I hate to get into this project and find out, I guess, the town wants to vote it down.
Well, you're gonna have a project either way,
Yeah, oh yeah.
because you're gonna have a project to make it ADA compliant.
Oh,
And more so now, because the town's been made aware that they're not in compliance. So under the law, you either knew or should have known. So if there's an issue, it comes back to the town. That's a fiduciary responsibility that you'll bear.
Dan, I think the other thing to keep in mind is the liability of not meeting ADA compliance.
It's huge.
So if we're not in compliance and somebody that is handicapped has an incident and gets injured out here, our insurance company may not pay for that.
No?
You wanna talk about a big bill? We're not talking about $100,000, we're talking about $1 million,
Yep.
potentially.
What about the ramp setting right there? That's a disgrace. We're talking about parking out there, there's a ramp right there. How
Well,
about somebody getting hurt over there? No.
Philip, you want it fixed? We can do that. We've got money. I mean, if it's that much of an eyesore,
It's not an
we can get
eyesore.
it fixed.
Yeah, you can help me out on that, we're talking about something like, we're not, we're gonna reel the chair, we're gonna pound over that.
But again,
It is what it is. But I-
Philip,
you know,
complaining about it doesn't get it fixed, right? We can fix that. It's like anything. We can fix it if that's the
A lot
issue.
easier to fix that than it is.
Well, that's besides.
Okay, all right, we could go around and out. Last question.
So, I guess I'm confused. The special town meeting, is that just information so that you can share the information and share the plan? Or is there gonna be an actual vote by the town people that says, yes, we wanna do it, or no, we don't wanna do it?
We don't have to have a special town meeting to vote. The select board can make that decision to move forward with bids in the
So
process.
it's just gonna be informational?
My suggestion would be that we don't even need to have an informational meeting. We can plan that around the December 2nd meeting. The select board meeting on December 2nd, we make that an informational meeting. If it helps, we can have a separate informational meeting between now and then, so people can get a chance to ask the questions of Nate and look at the plan a little bit more in detail and understand what the plan is. But I mean, we don't have to have a special, after looking at it, we don't have to have a special town meeting.
No, but we do, I think we do need to have an informational meeting though. We've got to have, we've got to be, so people come with the questions. The thing that kind of bothers me is that we've done this before, is that when we've had informational meetings and sometimes we don't get hardly just a handful that show up, then next thing you know, we start making decisions and then everybody comes out of the woodwork. He said, I got questions. Well, we did everything possible, but I mean.
This is a little bit different.
Yeah.
This is bringing a place into compliance.
Yeah. Well, I understand that, Dan. I mean, we've got several issues here, not only just ADA, but we've got other issues that go around this whole project that they all need to come together. Like I say, it's a work going to be in progress, but again, I'm a proponent of making sure that information gets out there so people are aware of it. Especially those that maybe are handicapped. I mean, we have to make people aware of what is taking place, or like I say, liabilities staring us right in the face. So, anyways, I'm a proponent to just get that information out, and like I say, if anybody wants to talk, we want to have a meeting, yeah, we can have a meeting as long as it's going to be productive, and here.
How much would it cost the town to have your engineer, maybe there is another option of how to design the parking lot that would take care of the slope issue, but maybe not touch the opening.
We can talk to him, I mean,
I mean, it might be good for him to know that there are concerns.
He knows.
And if there's,
He knows that.
oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we can ask him about alternatives, but I
If
mean,
there are
looking,
options.
looking at it, I don't,
He went right by the code.
yeah,
Because
I don't
it's
think there
involving
are,
the state.
yeah,
I don't know what happened, I'm just putting it out there.
I mean,
Is there only one way to do it?
I guess that's a good question to bring back to him and say, is there?
Yeah.
There might be a different
I'm-
way, but that opening, I think, is the same width, no matter what. If we use the block, or
Well-
we use wood, or we use whatever.
Yep. Just
I
throwing it
think
out there.
actually it was 30 feet, and he did 34. I think it accommodates to be 34.
And he's just using the blocks and.
You're gonna have a slope, a downhill slope at some point to get down to 302.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think,
Whether it's 34 feet wide or
yeah,
the whole width wide.
yeah, I mean, I think the slope's gonna be there for the driveway, no matter what, but it's gonna, the way the plan's laid
Most
out.
likely, the design gives you the most efficient parking and so forth, best use of the space you have, but there may be options. I'm just throwing it out there.
Mhm.
I'm just one person that hearing this conversation for the first time.
That's a
We're
good
gonna-
question, we can ask.
We got all kinds of questions, continue to move on this thing, so. With that, we're gonna kind of shut that down for now, and pick it up again later date here. Like I say, that could be brought up, we could put that on the agenda, just for informational, for the next board meeting, just so people, we've got it out there, and keep it fresh in people's minds. Okay, well, thanks everybody for participating, it's good to hear, get it out there in the open. Highway,
So I'd like to discuss where the money's gonna come from if we get that grant for the blower. I'd like to just take it out of my maintenance, the equipment maintenance. Not take it out of the reserve fund.
is that gonna be doable for you to work around?
I think so. I mean, I think my equipment maintenance, I didn't have a budget, but, I think it's like 50% or something right now.
Yes, 55.
So, yeah, God forbid something major happens, but $2,000 or $2,400, whatever it is, isn't gonna make a difference if I blow a motor or something. So, that's where I'd like to take it from.
You know your budget better than anybody else, so, like I say, as long as you know, you feel comfortable working around it. Anything to you on that, Zach?
No, I think that's fine. We don't need a motion for that.
No, he's got his own budget.
The only other thing I want to talk about is Class 4 roads. We're talking about discontinuing a couple of them. I know there's a lot going on. We just don't want to get it put way to the back burner.
Yeah.
You know, it's a couple easy roads. There shouldn't be a lot of problems with it, so.
Who's doing it? Are you doing
The
it?
select board does it.
Yeah, something to, I haven't had a chance to go over the thing yet, because I had 15 other main things go along with it, so.
I understand.
Yeah, no.
I really do.
Yeah,
I just,
no, I know, it's in the back of my mind, it hasn't left, so.
I just want to keep bringing it
Yeah,
up.
no, that's good. I don't have a problem with that.
The only other update is last week, we spent basically all week dealing with beaver dams and culverts. They've really been busy. So we've been spending a lot of time. Huh? Well, you haven't taken one up by your house. Are they? I'm on vacation. So, yeah, so So we haven't done a lot of other things the last week and a half because we've been dealing with that. And that's all I got.
Harold, did the Rickers come sign that contract?
I got one, Cassie.
Okay.
I-
So what's the date they said they were gonna start? Did they?
Well, they got till the end of November. He said it'll take him 2 weeks to do it, so.
All right. Okay. Treasurer.
So I had in the select board folder, the cleaning ads, I have the cleaning bid going in the paper. And the town audit has gone out, so I was thinking Aaron would be here to review the cemetery ad.
He's sick.
Oh, he's sick? Okay, so, maybe next meeting he can have that ready, because he took it out of the folder, so I thought maybe he was working on it or something, so. Okay, so, but we got 2 out of 3 done. Did you guys get a chance to look at the health insurance review? Do you want to put that on the next select board meeting? The Blue Cross versus MVP and
I looked at it with the figures are like, between Blue Cross and like $200-something off. I mean,
off?
I mean, it's a difference, roughly. One is like just a second, I'm trying to get
I would think we should put that on the agenda for next meeting.
Okay.
And then, obviously, we're gonna take that into consideration when we're laying out the budget.
Okay. Well, currently for Blue Cross, we pay $85,000 a year, and the new rates is $80,660. There's a little savings.
Well, my concern is it's not only the savings, but what's the quality of it?
No, that's Blue Cross.
Oh, I thought you said,
No, MVP is lower, but the same standards. 6,500 less than the Blue Cross a year. But we can review it all,
Okay.
more detail next meeting and then at budget day. Clearwater Filtration Center rates and their dates of when they're coming to do the quarterly checks. Do you guys want the dates, or I put them on the town calendar? I don't know if you guys look at that. So it's February, May, August, and November that they come.
Okay.
I usually talk to Aaron about it, see if he wants to come.
Yep.
Last few times Aaron hasn't felt he needed to come, so he hasn't. And I Trevor Whipple had given, that UOF policy and training.
Yeah, I read that.
So there's that whole packet that's in there that I left for you guys. I thought it'd be on the agenda this week because we missed the date of when it was to be adopted. I asked Jim if he, because I gave him a packet too, and he said that he has some training set up to do in St. Johnsbury. So he was aware of some of this, but I think the town needs to adopt quite a bit of things.
Yeah, they've basically just, they laid out what they had in their laws about what a chokehold was and
Use of force. is
use
what
of
this is
force
about,
and,
yeah.
and such as that, and they drafted up, it basically is an updated version, which kind of defines it a little bit more, and I believe that it has to do because of the, I think it was George Floyd incident. I think they've had to go back and revise it, go back and look at that, so they did make some, it's a pretty long document.
It is.
It's 34 pages worth, so.
Yep.
So that does need to be, and the reason why I found it was because I was doing the passive renewal and it asked if we had that in place, and I said it's in process, because it's not.
It took me some time just to go through
Right.
it, and I really did, I kinda, I skimmed through it, and again, the language is, it was like it was being repetitive, and, so, you know, it was very thorough, and like I say, for law officers today, I really feel sorry for them for what they have to keep in mind, the things that they can do, especially what they can't do, so.
Right,
Yeah.
make sure Jim
Yeah.
has
It's,
this.
yeah.
He needs to go through there and read that really carefully. There's a lot of things on that, to be aware of, so.
I'd recommend that we put this on the agenda for next meeting, and we should make sure that Jim comes to the next
Yeah.
meeting to discuss any questions or concerns he has, but we have to adopt it. I mean, we have to, it's, you know, it's just amazing that this is 34 pages of information that he needs to know how to handle a 10-second situation. He's got to go through that Rolodex in very, very short order. So,
And I think that's all I have.
I have something, I don't know if you want to do it now or later, but last meeting, they put in an insurance, 2 insurance quotes for you. Want to make sure that gets taken care of, so we don't have a situation like last year where could have saved the taxpayers thousands of dollars, the same coverage, and we didn't do it.
Yeah, so-
We fell down on the fiduciary responsibility there that you had to the taxpayers.
we were talking about that. I think having that on the next select board meeting agenda, so that that's settled before we go to the budget
Okay.
meeting on the 13th. So I agree, we need to have that done, you know, ahead of budgeting is the most important part there.
Okay. Town clerk.
I have just a few things. The Jocelyn Sports, Mike is coming out next couple weeks to do the 2 fields, so I'll be able to get that done this year. I also have the contract for the digitizing the next set of books, so that came through. I know they're trying to work with other towns to come up and do a bunch of towns at once, so I told them I would get that would get signed and get it back to them beginning of next week, so that can get planned on. And then we looked into a website, new website design for the town. Happened to come across the meeting that was talking about it, so I clicked into it and I just, you know, sent response to this. It's called Town Web. So all they do is municipal town websites. So Gary to look at. I mean,
Yeah, good person.
and
I
it's,
think you should look into it.
Town of Vernon uses it. It's very nice, clear, easy to use. You know, obviously it'll be now a cost to the town if we go this route, but it'll be, give out much better information all the time. You can also sign up for emails or texts to be alerted to any, and you can pick what you want. If you just want to get all the select board minutes, then you just click that off and you automatically, it goes to you without even us having to do anything. So that's something I think the town should consider in this day and age, to just have a little user-friendly website.
In comparison, that's $70 a month, I think, is what that charges. I've been paying for years, the Buckaroo's website, $40 a month, and it's not an automatic. This is one where you just send the stuff, email, text, whatever document you want to put on your website, and they do it all for you. I pay $40 a month just for the space and the wizards. You know, we do all the work, all the copy and pasting and fitting and sizing and adding the boxes and the tables and all the stuff. It's very, very time consuming. It's very painful, and that's $40 a month. So this is only $30 more, and they make it sound like it's really easy. You basically email to them, 10 o'clock at night, I want an agenda, and they have it done in 20 minutes.
Wow.
But did you see how you can, after 3 years, you can have a whole new redesign?
Yep.
So if you picked whatever pictures were flowing and color scheme, that they'll refresh it all every 3 years. And, you know, if you want to go on to Town of Vernon, Vermont, you can look at it. Not that it will be, you know, we'll do it our way, but it's nice. It is pretty nice. So I didn't know if we would talk about that some more and move forward with that. I also have, I don't know if anyone's heard about the House of Representatives reapportionment proposal, the single representative towns. So you know how we're normally Groton, Newbury, Topsom? So now they have redone the whole state. They're trying to get everyone into roughly around, I think it's 4,200 population in the districts. So they've put us, Groton, Peacham, Danville, is what they've put us into. So, yeah, kind of interesting.
So they basically redid the,
Which is interesting because I mean, right now we're part of, well, it's consistent with the school district, right? I mean,
No,
No.
it's not?
no, because we got Topsom and
Oh, that's
Newbury.
right, yeah, Topsom.
There's two of us. So now it'll be, you know, one person representing the 3 towns at the 3 different schools.
Yeah,
You know, I guess right now we have one person representing 2, because Newbury and Groton would be BMU. Newbury meaning Wells River,
Yep.
and Groton would be BMU. Newbury, obviously, to Newbury and Bradford, and then Topsom to Waits River. We, you know, we still have a little of that, but this totally makes it one person, 3 total different town schools.
Danville's a lot bigger than us.
So I looked at it, they have for the BCA's, I sent it to you guys.
yeah.
And you can hit that interactive map, and it's what, picture I had here, just did to drop some notes on, but. So I even worked around thinking, all right, let's say we want to do, you know, obviously I feel like Reigate is like our real community. Groton, Reigate, Barnet is, I thought would be my choices, but also what I saw they did was you know how that divided up counties. So now they're trying to stick to the towns they grouped together in the same counties. So we were, you know, Orange, you know, Caledonia Orange was our district. So now we're like Cal 5, I think we're called, it stayed this way, Caledonia 5. But, so, you know, I played around with the numbers because they're given 4,287. They took the whole population, divided it by the 150 representatives, I think they said, and that's what comes out with the 4,200 something. So they're given plus or minus to that, getting each group as close as they can. So the new group puts us at 4,034. So they consider that within reason of the goal. So they're asking all the BCA's to look at it and decide if they want to do anything about it, whether there really is anything they can do, but, you know, suggest things or reasons why this isn't a good fit. You have to have some big reasons. But then what you have to consider, like I played around with it for a while, like I said, grabbing Reigate, Barnet, that doesn't put us at the right number. Also, you have to consider what that does to the group they put Reigate and Barnet in and how that would, you know, it would trickle around to all the different changes that would occur. So, I thought I'd put it out there and let everybody know that that's gonna be.
It's gonna be tough when they wanna keep everybody in the same county, you know, not split counties.
I heard some other people have been talking about not liking the new setup. St. Johnsbury said something, I can't remember exactly, but now they're divided in half. She'll have like, it was crazy, 4 districts, like so voting, you would have multiple checklists and stuff, and oh, that'd be a nightmare. So other towns were, you know, speaking up and talking about it too. So, you know, hopefully this isn't their final, but, you know, when I look at it, I can see why they did it. You know, it keeps us in Caledonia, we're right in line, you know, it's, population adds up, rough figure of what they want. So I don't know how much we can push to say, just, we don't like it.
The only concern I have, is, like I say, Danville's bigger than the rest of us, and guess where all your representatives are gonna come out? You know, they're gonna end up going to Danville.
Yeah, I mean, Newberry's double
One
us.
liberal place to another liberal place.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, Newberry is twice our size, and they were in ours, so.
I guess it's whatever people wanna do, I guess.
So I sent that out to the BCA, so if we want to have a meeting to discuss it, and then, in that email I sent everybody, there's a form for me to go in and kind of write our concerns.
When does it have to be done by?
November 15th.
I would suggest that we need to have a BCA meeting to discuss what discuss what the concerns are, or if there are concerns. And I don't know, what do you think,
Yeah,
So, I mean, the BCA needs to do some, like what I just did, go in there and look at it and have some ideas, and not us just try to do that on the day of the meeting. Because it'll just be me saying what I just barely said.
take a look at it.
I did email Angeline at OSU, their chair of the school board for BMU, to ask if, she didn't know about it, but said, was it a concern of theirs? I said, was it a concern to have, you know, BMU represented by now 3 different state representatives? I mean, I guess they had 2 before, so I said, or maybe do you look at this as a plus? I don't know. And she said she hadn't heard about it, but she would look into it.
I kind of want to backtrack just a little bit, back when you talked about doing the ball fields. I did call Matt Puffer about the drainage up there. He doesn't, he said there's several lateral pipes, 4-inch pipes corrugated that parallel 302 and dumps into the Walls River, and the fences have run into that. So, but he doesn't know exactly how they're, you know, he knows it parallel the highway, but he doesn't know where.
you say what kind of pipe it was?
Corrugated.
Along 302 or on the other side of the field by the river?
Through the field?
Along 302, huh?
Oh, along 302.
So between the
He
ball
doesn't-
field and 302?
There were no plans for
There
it.
was no plans for it, so he has no idea whether, he knows they're in there, but
He
I got a
did
metal detector, I can go out
He
there.
did them?
I don't know whether he did them or not.
He was done.
It was done years ago, but you would think if he had done them, he would know where they've been laid out, but that's not the way it came across, so. But that's what you got on that, but I just wanted to touch bases on that, just to get that taken care of. It's 4-inch, there's 4-inch pipe corrugated, so.
Okay. The one last thing I have is back related to school. Groton no longer has 3 school board members. Sarah Sanders has moved out of town. And this has actually been a little while now, but, so when I reached out to Angeline, I asked her about what was the procedure for another school board member. And she said somebody can just send her a letter of intent that they want to be it. And if that's the only one they have, it's kind of like a done deal. If she has multiple, they'll interview each one of them and decide. I reached out to one lady, and she was no longer interested. She was interested a few years back, so that's why she stuck out in my head, but.
What? So, isn't that an elected position?
Yeah.
So
That appointed person will finish up
Till
that term.
term.
they would just finish out the term and then be, okay. That's what I thought.
That
Well,
wouldn't
that's
be
why I
a job
reached
of
out.
Angeline's, that'd be a job of the select board, wouldn't it?
For what?
Wouldn't that be a job of the select board of town of Groton, not a job of Angeline?
Oh, she said it's hers.
Well, but the town of Groton vote, that's, Philip brings up a good procedural question, which is, if it's a representative of the town of Groton and we vote as citizens to appoint our elected officials to the select, or to the Board of Education, or you know what I'm saying?
I agree, I'm just repeating what she said.
Yeah, so I mean, I would say that that would mean that it would be the responsibility of the select board to appoint a representative to the, to
I can
the
reach
school
out
board.
for clarification, but that's what she
Yeah,
said to me.
I'd like to know the procedural clarification, because I think that makes a lot, it makes a lot more sense that we would appoint somebody to fill, we would vote on who that would be.
If that didn't happen, then she could just stack the school board in whatever manner she wanted.
Well, it would have to be a Groton, it
Something.
would have to be something
Right,
from
but
Groton.
if you had two people, if you had someone that was liberal and someone that wasn't,
Then the school
I think
board
it should
would
be up to the select board.
No,
to
I
decide.
agree, I don't think it's as terrible as we're all making it out to be. That
No, yeah,
it's an evil plan, but
Oh, no,
I
I'm not
think,
saying that, but I'm saying it sets
the
a.
school board would have these
Really nasty
interviews and they would
precedent.
vote on who to be a Groton resident.
Yeah, but yeah, again, it's like who, that's where the procedural question, I mean, it's just a for me, it's a procedural question is, if we vote on who is supposed to be our representative, why would the school board interview and vote on who the replacement would be?
That shouldn't happen.
It should be, from a procedural
Like I
perspective,
said,
that's the.
I'll reach out, I don't know, this is just what she said back to me in an email.
Yep. Interesting.
It seems like she should have resigned to the Board of Selectmen in town of Groton. Officially.
We should have had a letter.
She could have resigned to the select board, and, I mean, to the school board, but she should have resigned to the,
I think the school board, if she resigned to the school board, they should have sent a thing to the select board saying
That that our representative was, that our representative, how long ago did she leave?
I would guess a couple months.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought, from what I remember, it's probably over the summertime. So, I mean, again, that would be another question is, you know, why weren't we notified of the fact that one of our representatives resigned this? Because how many school board meetings have they had since she left? And not that they made any huge decisions, but to Dan's point, if they're making decisions and we're not equally represented on the school board appropriately, then
I
there's a
will
problem.
say, I know they didn't have any meetings all summer, just,
Yeah,
not that that matters, but I know,
no, I know, but
I know it just started back up September,
which means they've had
too.
2 meetings without.
without proper representation. So it's taxation without representation.
I've seen it in their minutes, so another argument for people reading the minutes. I've seen it in their minutes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again.
No, they should have let us know.
Granted, however, from one officiating body to another officiating body, it would be professional courtesy
Yeah.
to send a letter of notification because, you know,
And tell us the proper procedure.
exactly.
Let us
Well,
get
that's,
going.
again, procedurally, I think that goes to state. It doesn't go, it's not even the school board. It would be state specifications for elected officials. So, I mean, that would be a question for VLCT too, probably.
Yeah, I think that would be a good place to go to.
So that is all I have.
Thank you, Gary.
Thanks, Gary.
All right. Assistant Assessor, yeah, Dorothy.
I've got an error in emissions certificate here that needs to be signed. There was an error with the veterans exemptions when we did the grant list. So I just need a correction and that will be attached to the grant list. And I'll get Aaron to sign it. Also. And there's the deed, the warranty deed for the access to Mill Street for the fire department. I had that from another meeting.
Oh, okay.
There are
It doesn't give any width of the road or anything, but, it's the deed that we did with the chances in whatever year we
Oh,
did.
that's the easement.
I think I gave it to all the select board
I've got.
members
Yeah.
at some point.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's the folks that are currently got the land at the top, and then that explains where the book and page, where the deed is, where that was.
Access to the pump house, dam, and water line
And I got that
Across.
from Nate in June, so that's when he said that it wouldn't apply to anything going down the pipe going down the river.
Well, it just says access to the water, yeah, pump house, dam, and water line. It doesn't say that we can lay a pipe down underneath there to the water line.
You take it, Diana, and
Okay, can I get a copy of this?
That's your copy right there, it's got your name on it.
Oh, yeah, it does. Wow, wait.
What did I say you were reading?
Let me read the whole thing, mate. All right,
Thank you.
thanks.
That's it, that's all I've got.
All right. Far and fast, well, Aaron's not here. One thing I want to kind of bring up ahead of time, we're in the process, apparently there is, we're trying to resolve an issue. And the way the issue had come out, as the tires, it seems like one thing after another with our rescue. The tires that we have gotten for the rescue is apparently, they're not studdable tires, so they have issues because the way the motion was made in our department meeting that the tires needed to be studded on that rescue, on at least the 4 back ones. So, anyways, with a discussion at hand, they want to, apparently, I haven't got all the information yet, but I'm still waiting. They want to replace those tires that were purchased with being able to have studded tires on that unit. And the proposal is that, because it was brought up, so okay, what are we going to do with the ones that we purchased? We'd have to turn around and sell them. So we can kind of compensate, so that we know, I know what goes back into the general fund.
So what are you gonna do in the summer? You're gonna run studded tires?
That's what they want. I mean,
But they're
that's,
not
So-
supposed to be on it though.
we don't get into that.
It's illegal.
I said it's not, we're not discussing
Couple questions I've got. One is if they're studded, with a vehicle that size, I don't know, I've never heard of putting studded tires on a vehicle that size, that's just me. When you need to run a vehicle that size in the snow, you put chains on them. That's just how old army training maybe, I guess, but that's how we run them. I mean, that's how I ran trucks that size. So I would suggest that studded tires are probably not the right thing for that vehicle, and I would not be supportive of, I would not be supportive of that, of selling the tires and replacing them with studded tires. So studded tires on a truck that size, on ice, it's like putting ice skates on an elephant.
And what about in the summer on the tire? It's the same way with studded tires.
Yep, yeah.
That's why you're asked not to run studded tires in the summer.
And that's why trucks like that have chains. That's what I would suggest, that all of the trucks should have chains to go with them. That my truck driving experience tells me that.
Well, I just brought it up just to make heads up, so I'll throw it back, I'll give it back to them and see what comes out of it, so.
Did you have somebody that was wanting to buy the other tires?
Not at this point, we're just trying to get things ready for winter, so, there's a lot of variables. I haven't got all complete information with the tires that they want to.
I saw Brenda was getting a quote from Marshall Tire.
And I believe that reason, I think that company, that's where Rock of Ages, I think Chubb had talked to them, but that's where Rock of Ages gets there, apparently, so that's much information I know about it. So, but, yeah, it's,
So all the headache with VIP and then.
well,
Oh my
yeah, COVID does quite a bit of things when things happen like this, but the problem is, like with anything that when you make a motion on something, which, any organization, I don't care what it is, when you make motions, you need to be very careful how you make them, because sometimes it's hard to track them back. Some people persist that they've got to follow the letter of the law, so to speak. So what do you do in that case? So trying to resolve the issue and so make everybody happy, and we'll see what happens. So.
Do we have chains for all of the fire department trucks?
Marshall Tire will put the tires on for you?
I don't know. I don't think so. As a matter of fact, I think we have to be we would have to be the ones to put the studs in. The studs is another fact, the studs are running $1.25 a piece, and you figure at least 100 per tire, so you're looking at over $400 just.
So you're buying to put studs in, you're not buying tires that are studded?
No, because a lot of companies not doing that now. Not for truck tires, they're not.
Well, talk about a cost that keeps adding up.
Yeah, I know it, yeah.
But again, I'm not really supportive of us, trying to straighten that out. It just doesn't make any sense to me. It makes more sense for us to make sure we've got good, solid chains that can go on all those trucks so that you guys can get where you need to go. That's my opinion.
Nope, I thought I'd just bring it up beforehand, so. All right, that's all I have on the fire and fast at this point. I don't want to say no. We are trying to, this is time of year where a lot of the firefighters and fast fire members are, their certifications or CPR research are coming to an end, and we're trying to get classes, trying to get that rescheduled so everybody in that department that has certification can be recertified again, so.
Did the CPR classes, happen that, down at BMU? That you've got insurance for?
No, well, Brenda was gonna do one here for BMU,
Yeah.
and that canceled during all the COVID.
Yeah, COVID issue kind of took over everything, so. But more later on that, so let's see what happens. First constable.
We kind of touched on that, about the training and procedures.
Yep.
I saw Jim Sunday morning. He said that somebody took the tires for the old cruiser tires. Just wanted to pass it along.
Took him, because he was trying to get rid of them, or?
Yeah, he was trying to get rid of them, I guess. He put them by the side of the road and they were gone. So.
Oh, so we wanted them gone.
Yeah, he just wanted to make sure he let me know that he got rid
Saved
of
you $3 a tire.
Okay.
Just leave the money there.
Okay.
I saw him at soccer, he said hello, and that's all he told me.
Okay.
Tires are gone. Okay.
Sorry.
All right.
Anything on library?
Just, they were looking, I don't know if they reached out to you, Gary, but they were looking for a webcam to be able to use for Zoom and things like that, and I donated one to them, so if Jody asked for technical support, I told her I could help her too, but.
I don't know anything about it. I was there this week doing some work. They bought a new black and white wireless printer so that people could just get on the Wi-Fi and print out like tax documents or whatever. So I have that all set up to work off their two public computers and their wireless. So I tested it with my phone and I was able to print out a document I had on my phone. So
Cool.
I haven't heard back from Jody, but have her try it out, and hopefully I get it set up the way she wants. I also picked up 2 PCs to be disposed of.
All right. Zoning administrator.
The only thing I have is, it was brought to my attention today that there's a structure, and I don't know if Dorothy's aware of it, at the old Proctor place. It was recently put up. I went up to talk with them, but they weren't home this evening, so I'll try tomorrow.
Is that the one that's along that river, along the river there?
Yeah, in the S corners,
Yeah.
just where you get into the S corners.
I saw that the other day, I couldn't figure out what it was.
Yeah, I couldn't either, but it doesn't have a permit as far as I know.
Health officer, everything's quiet for now. So what, other than the Department of Health is trying to, gotta do a survey thing for them or something, I don't know.
Every year.
Yeah, so I gotta deal with that, so, but, that's about all I got on that issue. Maintenance, we have anything on maintenance, other than what's being transpired up front already?
Did we hear back from Frank Page on the ramp?
Yeah, he gave us some prices. I didn't bring them to budget day.
Okay.
He did give a list of prices for the project.
And what was he, I mean, was it just stairs or, no, was
It
it
was
stairs or
stairs
ramp?
and then continue the walkway.
Okay. I'm wondering if we can get a quote for what it would be to get a ramp that's ADA compliant too back there. I mean, I know we've got the one in the front, but it's a fire exit. I don't know, Dan, you might know better, but
It's
is that,
ADA compliant,
if it's a fire exit?
if it's a fire exit.
Okay, so that may change that plan. Just something
Go back.
came to
It's
mind.
municipal buildings.
We'll probably bring it out,
Yeah, well, I mean.
bring it out to a
the
landing
ramp-
and then along the.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's a little bit more of a project.
I'll ask them.
Yeah, that'd be nice, thank you.
Is the electrician gonna look at that outlet? So we can get
I
rid of the
thought someone can
extension?
shut the breaker off and change an outlet.
Hmm?
No one can do that, or we have to get the
Oh, yeah,
electrician?
they should have an electrician do it.
I mean, I can do it, but I don't have a license to do
You
it.
don't have to engineer. Well, yeah, you do, this is municipal building.
Yeah, and that's the question.
You don't have to let Charles know, you do whatever you want.
No, I didn't call anybody. I
Old
didn't know
school.
that was
Yeah,
happening.
who do we normally
Tim.
call for electrical work?
Tim Corey's who we've been using.
But,
I'll call.
okay.
I don't mind slapping him around.
Okay. So, you know, the update with the septic is, you know, he set the tanks and then, now working on fire department to come down. So the level wasn't quite right, so he had to lift the tanks back out to get the crane here and then dig it down again and reset them again, so it would flow down correctly. So now he's on to, the trench. And Nate came down to talk over the plans with them, and Nate felt very comfortable with all that he's doing. So,
When's he thinking it's gonna be all done?
I'm not sure.
Doesn't say.
Yeah.
I mean, he's aware that, you know, when he has to pave, that comes pretty quick, that they don't.
And he's doing the leach fields, and then he'll cut across, and then, like, the fire trucks will have to come out while he does that, so you have access to a fire truck. Cuts across.
It's gonna be a big deal.
Okay,
They did mention, waiting on that part till spring, actually. Remember he said that, Nate said it too. That once he gets all this done, depending on the weather, and when asphalt places are done shutting off.
First of November, they sat down.
Right.
And Nate agreed that it'd be no harm to leave it until after the
I
spring.
don't do much paving past Thanksgiving.
We were lucky to pass the first of November.
Well, the rate this crew out here is going,
They'll be paving the park.
the guy, one of the guys was in the store, they said he was doing 3 miles a day, was what they were doing. I said, oh, good lord.
If they were doing 3 miles a day, that's 3 days to come from Wells River to Groton. They were
That's
3
what I was
days to
thinking,
Wells
like-
River.
I was gonna say, gee whiz, it sure is taking a long time to get it paved out there.
Anything else on maintenance?
Did, Garrett Aiken come up and to the highway? Okay,
unless he came and we weren't there,
okay,
I haven't seen him.
all right.
He stopped again, so.
He was thinking, he was working in town, so he stopped in.
Yeah, just email me or give me a call if he's in town, unless,
November 14th, I think, is gonna be here again.
because we're not just hanging around the garage waiting for it to show up.
Well, I know, and I think he was just here, and he just stopped up to see if you were there, so.
Right.
But I know you guys were wanting him to stop, so he's trying.
No, that's fine. I mean, like he said, you know, I'm gonna be there tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Send me an email.
Yeah, it wasn't like that today, he just popped in, so.
All right. Anything else on maintenance? All right, moving right along. IT, anything else on,
IT, there is a color printer on order for the assessor's office. That's on back order, so it may be a little while, but Dorothy make sure we get it filled out by the end of the year. So if it comes close, I'll get it somewhere else. Dorothy had a bunch of computer issues. I think we're better, but she's got some email stuff going on now that I need to look into. I think the wide format printer has been working well, scanner printer. Website seems to be chugging along, haven't got any warning messages about being full for a while.
So we wouldn't have that issue with a different place? So we-
No, I mean, the space was unbelievable. Yeah,
No headache for you.
yeah. Yeah, we don't have that much space there, I don't know what the number
We
was.
thinking about, talking about that at budget?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's, I mean, I looked at their, who'd you say it was,
Vernon.
Vernon, pretty nice website.
Yeah.
I guess, is there anything else, stuff I'm forgetting, IT related? Yeah, I think it's the latest.
We've had internet problems at the garage, that was telephone related.
Oh, okay. You never call me, so.
Oh, no, we're having fax problems.
Yeah.
Oh,
we
yeah, if you have
came-
tax problems, they referred you to telephone. How'd that go?
I forgot that. Yeah.
No, we forgot that, so we tried the fax again.
It's definitely a fax line problem. It's not,
Okay.
it's the line. Whether it's in the building or outside the building, I didn't determine that. I figured Emil could answer that question real quickly for you.
And he has, well, we've been having this problem a while.
Yeah.
They did have to redo some of the wiring while Robert's working. It's
Out
kind
there.
of laying there until all that's done, and then he's gonna do it official back in.
Out there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Must be
goes-
wiring for out to the hole,
Way over
right?
there. No, it's over there to
It's
this
over there.
wall. Right to my corner. So,
Nobody can listen.
Well, telephone stuff comes in over here.
at least
But
to
I'm
me,
Huh,
to me, it comes in right there.
really? Okay.
Cause I said something to him
That's
about
what
the
I
fax,
said.
and he said,
Don't listen.
But that was happening before he
it was,
Yeah,
it
it
was,
was.
yeah.
Call before you do.
So I guess, that's all I can think of to share unless you have questions.
Good. Planning Commission.
We got the update earlier.
Yeah, okay, that's true, yeah. Mecca, CUD, anything, nothing on
I
that?
haven't heard anything from my,
I'm
Seems like it's slowed down.
might as well, I'm gonna throw this thing, it seems like, to me, it doesn't seem to be, I don't know, it may be a coincidence, but maybe it isn't. And all this high-tech stuff, it seems to be playing. I was at a Zoom meeting last night with Capital Mutual Aid Fire, with the safety, with public safety in Montpelier. And they had to deal with the communications issue, and it was a long 2 hours, to say the least. Listening to these guys, these proposals, and they want all the towns, when it was all said and done, with this financial thing, which we tried to get narrowed down, but nobody, we just didn't answer the question. But it goes from $3.9 million to $6.4 million before this is all said and done. Simulcasting and the whole lot. But the thing I thought was odd is that here we are east of where all this is taking place, and we're kind of out of the loop, but yet they want our money. I'm thinking, I don't think so. I don't think it's gonna fly, so. But they are in the process, I don't know when it's gonna happen, but they wanna meet with, the SWAT board, all the SWAT board areas that relate to the fire districts, relate to capital, mutual aid system, and, so they can discuss this whole plan that they, trying to do, so. It was a lot of info, for me, it was kind of overwhelming with a lot of information being thrown at us. This has been going on the process, how long, Dorothy, about 3 years now this has been going on?
2 or 3 years, yeah.
So, I don't know, this, that informational packet they keep getting, keeps getting thicker and thicker all the time, so, I don't know, it was an interesting meeting, but, I don't know, I don't think, for what we have problems enough as it is with trying to get communications in our own town, with the dispatch we got now, I don't know, I don't think throwing a lot of money at it's gonna do any good, so. But anyways, I just kind of give that, kind of brief everyone, just the board, because that possibility comes down at some point. I don't know when, they didn't say when, but once they get there, you gotta have representatives, 2 representatives from the capital fire mutual aid system to be on that board, so they can get started, so. Yeah, that's next month's meeting, so, stay tuned, so, let's see what happens. Open to the public and other business. This is a time, if you have anything else that, can't vote on anything, but we can, if there's anything that needs to be in concerns, we can bring up.
Update on the railroad bed in town of Groton, Snowmobile trail maintenance. We started going, we've been out twice now, doing trail maintenance. We worked on the railroad bed from the bridge near Bill's over to Coal Kiln, got that all cut back. It doesn't get the bicycle usage and car travel there, so that throws in a little bit more than the rest of the railroad bed. The project you approved on Little Italy, that should be happening soon. When I go to get reimbursed for that project, if I don't have a copy of a permission form, I might need a new one signed. I think I've got it, I just haven't looked for it yet. So it's something you would have signed quite a while ago. I think my father had you sign it. Whatever select board was in session then, a long time ago. I'll double check and make sure, but I may have to get it on an agenda, have you signed a landowner permission slip, which requires me to get reimbursed fast for the project. So, but, yeah, so we're moving along with our stuff on the railroad bed. I'm hoping to spend some more time from Stump Dump down through to Pine Mountain that way, but it's not top priority. It's not bad, but we spent some time on it last year, but it's, I hope to get in there. I have some pretty good crews that come out, typically 10 to 15, sometimes 20 people will come out, so we could really do a bang-up job each time we go out.
Anything else for open to the public?
Thanks, Gary.
Thank you, Gary.
I have a couple questions whenever you're a minute.
Go ahead.
So you folks starting to publish the agenda up at Upper Valley Trail.
Have we?
Are you starting to do that?
No.
Do you need help with that?
I,
It would be handy if you did.
the last time I made a comment, somebody asked me last meeting, and told them specifically what had transpired. Bill had basically told, because I was the one doing the, handing out doing the agenda, he basically told me, this is during when we had the COVID situation here in town, that he didn't, he said we wanted to post the agenda, that I'd put it in the ice box outside, and he would take it and post it inside. Well, I decided, well, I'm not gonna do that. If I'm not good enough to, in fact, he didn't want me in his store for whatever reason. So I figured from there on out, I'm not doing it.
If I volunteered to post it, could I do that? You just leave it into the wall, send me an
I
email?
don't know why, he can get it offline. It's all online, he can print it off.
It isn't really for him, it's for all the rest of us that go through the store.
I know, but he can print it off, and, I mean, anybody can print that off, it's online. It's supposed to be.
It's really quite convenient. I'm really willing to do it for you.
Yeah, well,
It's on the website, so you can just print it and post it wherever you want.
You want me to print it and post it?
I don't care what you do. It doesn't need to be posted. It's
that what you
posted in
prefer?
3 places.
yeah, because I'm not gonna post it. So
Okay.
if you wanna do it, that's fine.
Yeah, I think it'd be good service.
Yeah, I just say,
All right, so a little tit for tat there. That's just between you and Bill.
yeah.
And I have a request for the board. Question, if you would, please. And this, if you're familiar with the Woodsville Welser and Rotary, they did a lot of work and give money back to the school systems down in Blue Mountain. You see their signs up everywhere. And they had a major contribution involved in putting the scoreboard up for the youth basketball there. And really, I noticed that that symbol that was there is missing. And it would be neat to have you put it back up. in respect of them, much like Blue Mountain hosts theirs. So I'd ask you to do that, and if you need help, I'm glad to help you do it too.
What was the symbol?
Well, I got a picture of that in case you asked that question. This is what it was. It was there.
The rotary, it's the
Oh, yeah.
rotary emblem, right?
Yeah, it's really,
I think it's just turned around.
Somebody said that plate is just turned around.
that'd be wonderful.
I mean, I don't know, I'm just going by what I was told.
I have no idea what
Yeah.
happened. Then,
Well, somebody can
you
get
want
up,
you want me
somebody.
to coordinate tournament? Are you okay with me coordinating tournament background? That's what happened.
No, you still know.
It's respectful to the,
I know, but that's, I mean, if that's already there and it just got flipped around, I mean, that's what I was told, but.
Yeah,
so,
We can have somebody work on it.
Yeah, I mean, Peter, I think I think it makes sense if they were a contributing factor to that being installed in there. And yeah, I mean, if we want to,
We can get it.
yeah, we can get it done. Frank
I think that'd
Frank
be
can just
great.
come in and get the ladder out and flip it around if it's there.
That picture I gave you was taken by the president of, which belongs to the Rotary. It shows it up there. So, and it was pretty cool because they gave us a lot of things to help, so. All right, that'd be great. If you need help, let me know.
Yep, yeah, we'll let you know. Yeah, I
Okay.
think it makes sense. I mean, if they contributed to it, I'm not sure why it got turned around in the first place, but it makes sense to have it.
No idea what happened, not
facing
even
out,
worried
so.
about it, just move forward, that'd be great.
Yep.
And then the last request is if you move it back into your earlier discussion, I didn't want to get in the middle of it because it was your discussion. Tie it back to your earlier discussion. We are now ready to move forward, to put together a detailed plan and answer all the questions for the kitchen. We need a resolution supporting our moving forward to do that, we being the community club. And we'll come back and take the pokes and the jabs and answer all the questions and do the due diligence and all the good stuff that's required. So if you could give us a motion to start that task set, that would be wonderful.
I mean, Peter, I think we did that a couple meetings ago anyway, so I think that's fine. I don't think,
We do need a motion,
okay,
yeah.
yeah. Well,
What's the motion for?
what would it would just be to support the,
Supports the community club moving forward to put together a detailed plan for the
If you
kitchen.
do that, doesn't that mean that you support the kitchen?
No, it's a community club, it's supporting the community club doing a plan, period, just,
For a kitchen,
yes.
so it is.
No, it's putting together a plan, because the plan may or may not pass muster. You can't react to a thumbs up or thumbs down without details and stuff.
no, yeah, I agree, Peter. I don't know that it needs a motion though. I'm wondering if we just need, I think we're,
We do need a resolution, I'm told.
okay. And I guess my
By those
question,
who are smarter than the rest of us.
yeah,
You already made a resolution earlier stating that there may be space for a kitchen later. So we don't need to go through that process again.
yeah, I mean, I'm thinking, at this point, we don't, well, I mean, you guys had come a couple meetings ago, I think Mary had come and said that
Yeah, we're willing to go forward,
Plan.
we do need it authorizing us to do it.
to authorizing the planning. of it,
Create a plan,
to just-
yeah.
They can plan all they want.
Yeah, I
We can
mean,
plan without an authorization.
No,
They've already done that.
well, I mean, I guess the question I would ask Peter, just so I have it straight in my head, what would the resolution provide the authorization, just the authorization to discuss a plan? Is it engineer, having an engineering on site to look at the space?
Create a detailed plan that will incorporate design, funding, and all the good stuff that goes with it. And it may or may not fly, by the way, maybe we won't be successful. Who knows, we're just gonna give it our best shot as a gift back to the community.
Yeah, I
No
mean,
guarantees success, but sure guarantee we'll give it our best shot.
okay. I'm just trying to understand what the resolution would be.
It's not approving the kitchen, it's approving the community club.
I mean, I would suggest that we can make a motion that allows the community club to.
Isn't the community club a separate entity? a 501c3.
Yes.
So how can you authorize them to do it when they're a separate entity by themselves?
Technically speaking, we would have to do it because it's on municipal property.
That's correct.
So if they planned it as a third party, and they couldn't come out here and just build it, you know what I mean? Because the town owns the property.
And so you've already given the space consideration in a previous vote tonight. Why are you authorizing another situation pertaining to the same item?
Two different items
So I
entirely.
think what we voted on before was adjusting the plan for the drainage and parking project, which would allow for the space for potential
For a new
planning.
kitchen,
For-
they've voted on.
Yeah.
So
at a
it's
future
already
date.
there.
I think what Peter's asking is authorization for the community club as a separate entity to have access to the property and plan, you know, to put together that plan for a
Detailed
kitchen that
plan.
would be looked at
For
in the
review and
future.
critique and approval.
I would say,
I understood that. Who's telling you you have to do this, Peter? I mean, who's telling you you have to have a
The
resolution?
grant process is, we gotta go out and we're not looking for taxpayers to pay for this, so
I
we're
mean,
gonna
is there an individual that's,
any
Anybody else
entity,
here?
no, I'm trying to narrow this down because I want to talk to the individual that says that the select board has to have a resolution. I mean, like I said, you
Well,
could plan.
yeah, for a lot of the grants, I mean, like the other grants that we talked about,
Right.
got updates from, because it's a grant process, we
Well,
have to have.
okay, with that said, then let, whoever the people are that wants the grants thing, I want to talk to them. I want names.
can't do it without a plan. I gotta figure out where we go for, we gotta all get together and figure out where we go for money, so
And you don't have any idea what grant you're going for or nothing?
we haven't started, we need this approval.
I mean, my concern is, I mean, you want a resolution, but nobody's there, you don't have anybody there that's telling you you have to have a resolution. Who's dictating that you have to have a resolution?
You already got your answer. It's a town-owned property. In order for us to proceed with someone else's property, and it is a town property, we need to, it's pretty simple.
Didn't you have the information for the grant
Are you
first
against it?
and then apply
I'm
it?
just concerned who's dictating, that's all.
Well, I
Real
think
strange.
from a process perspective, I can see where having a motion authorizing the community club to develop a proposal for the construction of a kitchen that's funded by,
By who?
grants. I mean, it would-
But what grant? I mean, they haven't even got a name for a grant either.
so they didn't say that for grants especially, they can't just go out and say, hey, we want a grant to buy a kitchen, to build a kitchen. When you go to a grant, when you go to any company,
I've written grants.
Yeah, no, I get it.
understand the process.
yeah, but if you go to them and just say, hey, this is what we want to do, give us the money, they're gonna go, we
I'm
want
not
the
saying
detailed
that, but
plan.
normally you have a contact person
Yeah.
where you're gonna do the grant, and they can answer your questions for you. All the select board chair asked for was a name of that person, and it's non-existent. So where is the grant coming from?
I think you already got your answer, because I understand you're not comfortable and happy about this whole project, Dan, but the answer is very simple. And that is, I'll say it again, but it was well said earlier. And that is, it's town-owned property. We, all taxpayers, own this property. Select board has a fiduciary responsibility, and we're gonna go forward doing the plan, but we need that resolution on us to do the due diligence. And we're willing to do it, doesn't cost you a penny, it's no risk, low, and no cost. It's about the
So-
best deal in town.
I think Peter, what you're asking is for authorization to develop a plan that could be proposed to the select board and town of Groton for the construction of a kitchen onto the community club.
Yeah, for
building.
review and approval, yeah. We certainly would bring it back here before we went anywhere.
Yeah.
So I have a question for Peter. You can answer it or you can not answer it. So I
Okay.
don't care one way or the other. Do you have written blueprint type plans already made out for this kitchen that have been proposed to your members of the community club prior? Is there any plans ever been written,
We have,
drawn up or anything?
yeah, you want me to answer that? It's real.
I'm asking you.
He's asking-
The question goes
he's
to the
asking-
board, then it comes back. You want me to answer it?
You can answer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, sure. Yeah, there are plans. It was done when I think when I was on the board, when Mary Grant was on the board. It was already done by the board. And they're fairly well thought out plans, and I'm sure there's more work that's gotta be done. And they're right on file. Been on file for several years.
Are you planning to use the existing plans?
We have no idea. We gotta start, first question we gotta ask is, are these
Well,
really ADA requirement, latest code,
well,
latest?
yeah, I don't, how old are those plans, Peter? Probably five, 6
yeah.
years? They'd have to be reviewed and updated to meet
We gotta
current
go through
code
that.
anyway. I'm supportive of authorizing the community club to develop and propose a plan in the future. And I think that would be what the motion would be.
That's fair enough.
But I don't, procedurally, can we take a motion right now? I think for something like that, we can, right?
Yeah, I'd like to have Aaron here to fill the board, so. And we all three agree, because you may not, but.
Okay. Peter, are you okay with us tabling that, having it on the agenda for the next select board meeting to have that resolution voted on?
We needed to wait till we get done our supper to come anyway, so I know it's fine.
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
We'll make sure that's on the agenda for the next meeting.
Anything else open to the public and other business?
Thanks for your time.
No, thank you, Peter. Anything else? Okay, not hearing anything. Already signed the orders. And I guess I'm looking for that magic.
Well, we gotta set the agenda for the next select board meeting.
Go ahead.
Too. By the way, this looks beautiful.
Well,
Anybody I've brought in here, like, says, wow.
yeah, it looks 100% better than what it was.
Yeah, they've been shocked. Looks great.
Bye, dear.
Bye.
So I think we need to keep the drainage and parking project on there. What else will be
That
said?
leaf blower, you want that still on there for now, or are you?
What?
That leaf blower, are you gonna?
I'm hoping the paperwork, the process stopped last week. So I'm assuming within a week or two, once they send me the paperwork, I'll come visit you, you sign it, and I'm gonna go buy it. So it doesn't need to be on there.
Okay. Yep.
This is gonna be wonderful.
Were we keeping the,
The insurance thing.
yeah, insurance needs to be, are we gonna keep the VORC Ursa grant on there as well? Cause they're gonna,
But you did good.
we'll keep, cause they're gonna, I don't know if it's next meeting or the following meeting, but they said they were gonna bring us that to authorize it before they submitted the grant.
And the training for the constable.
Yeah, constable policy.
Is there a home?
It's called UOF policy.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. Use of force. Yeah.
Do you want informational meeting on that?
Well, on what the, I mean, yeah, we could put informational meeting. That would fall under the parking and draining projects. I have some other thoughts that go along with that, but we can discuss them at the next meeting. Let me go over my notes. Just follow up on the school board issue, follow up on the BCA issue. We should put that on there. What's that? Yeah, we can follow up, I mean, unless they're moved by that, but. Harold, you think we'll be able to move them by then? Never mind.
I was told whenever I had time, it could be next June.
We'll keep that on the select board agenda for next meeting. Just probably put the budget meeting on there, just as a quick reminder that we're having it on the 13th.
The insurance issue.
And the insurance needs to be on there too.
Am I right?
Yes.
Got a lot of to-dos for next meeting.
Yeah.
All right, so good deal.
Anything else?
I think you'll be really, really good.
You got anything coming up right now?
At least I could.
That's right now.
Oh,
I'll take
Well, I guess we need to put community club on there with the kitchen thing, right? Can you put that down?
take it out, because it's good stuff.
It's a lot of work on the last week of collecting taxes. Need to do anything.
What, you're super bowl, you can do it all.
All right, that all we got for the budget for time being, I mean, for the
But guess what?
agenda.
You know, really good.
Oh, geez, no, I think that's
I'm
it.
looking for that.
I'll move to adjourn.
All right, second, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign.
You know, don't